coming from Nigeria, now I know that with Nigerian parents, right? I have some friends, and I'm 34% Nigerian as well,
Okay, 34%, not even 50.
34%, but I have some friends and their parents typically have mapped out what they want them to do from a young age. Do you think that your dad had already kind of subconsciously placed that he was going to move you in that direction towards going into the insurance industry?
Actually, I don't think he had that plan initially, because he never really bothered about, oh, you're going into that line or that line. But whenever you're done with school, the next thing is you want to start looking for work. And getting work in Nigeria is not very easy, especially for the new graduates. So when we started discussing after school, and I was like, I don't like microbiology, I don't like all that thing that I had to do, right? And it was like, you know what? I'm in this industry, and I think it would be easier for me to give you recommendations or people you could actually see to be able to get into this industry. But then you're a microbiologist. So if you don't mind going back to study insurance, and it's just going to be a year anyways, then maybe we can start from there. And so that was how I personally decided that, okay, if you're sure that once I'm done with the insurance course, I'm going to be able to get a good job, then I'll do it. And that was how I decided to, okay, let me go and do the College of Insurance thing. And then, funny enough, I was the youngest person there, and I was the one with the least experience because I was coming from pure sciences. But then I eventually graduated as the best graduating student from that college that year. And I thought, okay, maybe this is where I should have been all along. Right. So.
And when you were studying risk management, was that focusing more on property and casualty, or were you focused on like a life-based curriculum at that time?
So it was actually two-sided.
Okay.
We had courses directed towards life, and then we also had courses directed towards property. So it was both, actually. And then the way the insurance company in Nigeria is, you don't need a different license or to write the different exams for life. Once you're chartered as an insurance professional, you could actually do general business or you do life, depending on which company you're starting with. So it didn't really matter. So we did both side by side, actually.
See, we're getting the rules for Nigeria and for Canada on this call. We're figuring out, hey, this is in Nigeria. Once you have the one license, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Now, when you moved to Canada, did you have to retest, or was there some?
Oh, definitely. All those chartered things did not follow me from the airport. It stayed back in Nigeria. So when I got here, I actually had to write new exams to be able to do anything. And of course, back home, I was more into the underwriting part. I wasn't really into sales or in the field. I was responsible for deciding whether we're going to accept a risk or we're going to reject it or rate it. That was majorly what I did. So coming here and being an independent advisor, that was more like sales, right? So I needed to write new exams entirely. But then I got that done like in a very short time, like within a month I was done, basically because I had the background knowledge actually. So I felt, oh, this is something I could actually get as soon as I can. And that was what I did.
That was my next question. It's like you answered it in advance, because I was going to ask, like, as far as the information, when you coming over and preparing for the test in Canada, did you find that there was a big difference in information, or was it, fairly easy to just kind of transition, to focus on that exam?
It was not exactly the same, but basically the fundamental concepts were actually the same. So if I understood it back home, then it was easier for me to understand. Probably some terms, or probably the way some products were, like the product features may be a little bit different, but the fundamentals were actually the same when it came to the insurance thing. So it was easy for me to relate and understand it properly. And I think that also helped me in practice when I started meeting with people, because I could break down very complex stuff into simpler, easy to understand stuff based on the knowledge I've had initially before coming, right? So it's not exactly the same, of course, because it's two different terrains entirely, but there are similarities, a lot of it.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about this transition, from the underwriter focus, because you could have gone when you moved to Canada, you could have say, hey, I'm going to go to a corporation and I'm going to either become an underwriter or I'm going to work there. But I mean, to say that, hey, I'm going to go entrepreneurial, I'm going to become, you know, an agent and an advisor, and I'm going to work on my own. I mean, it's two different, this is two different paths here, you know, with a lot of risk, you know, when you're taking that path. So what was like the driver for you, and what was the, now you've been licensed for almost 10 years now, right? It's almost.
So basically, the 2013 is like when I got chartered in Nigeria.
Okay.
So when I came into Canada, I actually came into Canada just in 2019.
Right? Yes.
And then I got my, so it's basically the full time I've started working that was like from 2013. But in Canada, it's actually from 2020.
Nice. So what do you find? So what was the determining factor between you saying, hey, I'm just going to go work for another company, or I'm going to take this entrepreneurial path? Like what drove that? Because that's a big decision.
Okay, like I said, I don't like easy stuff. I don't know why. Once it's not challenging, it's not attractive to me. I get bored easily. So I love challenging stuff. So on getting here, from the background I had back home, even if you were an underwriter, you still have your own kind of business code. Meaning if you brought a business from outside to the company, you will still get paid commissions apart from your regular salary for every business you bring, even if you are the managing director of the company, right? Yeah. So for every business, there was a commission tied, right? And then, yes, because I had some friends and families that I would refer, and I would see like on some days, the money in the one coming from commissions would be higher than like my regular salary. So I've always known that the money is in the streets. It's not in the office, right? So I've always had that at the back of my mind that with sales, the income is unlimited, because if I did so much, I would get so much. But with the salary, it's capped at the agreement. Only when it is being reviewed or when I'm being promoted, then it will probably go up just a little bit, right? So I already had that at the back of my mind. So even when I was an underwriter, of course, I'd tell my friends and families, I work with this insurance company, I could help you with all your insurances. So I still did get some sales and make some cool commissions. So on coming here, rather than starting from entry level, because, it's not always the same when you're an immigrant. They don't kind of, until you get in and probably prove yourself, probably then you'll be able to. So instead of starting from that, I was already at a managerial level because I started as a chartered professional, right? Yes. So I just thought, what, why not, let's try out this sales part of things first. And then if that doesn't work, probably then I'll go back to coming in as like a regular underwriter with the office. So I was just excited for the challenge. I just wanted to, I don't have anything to lose. Like, let's just go through it this way. And then I had some really good coaches and mentors who were doing this, and they were really doing great, right? So the fact that the income potential was unlimited was something that was exciting for me. And that was why I decided to go that way rather than being a regular staff. I just found that would be boring. Let me do the challenging one and see
look, kudos to you, because to jump right in, right into that path, especially, coming to
new immigrants.
Look, you didn't necessarily even change industries, but you changed whole countries and was like, look, I'm going to come in straight from scratch. Because when you go that route, I don't know how it is in 1099. I don't know how it is up there, but here in the States, is, when you go into that route, it's 1099. It's everything is on you, and that's how I started my career. Like, there's no salary. There's no base.
Exactly. Well, I'm lucky to have a supportive husband, right? So he was going to be doing a regular job that was going to make sure that we are not sent to the street while I was going to be trying this thing out. But I guess God's grace shone on me. And then I was able to kind of out of the box, because yes, I had no Canadian contacts actually when I was going to start doing this. I was already on the path of like getting a regular job, doing this part-time, and then COVID struck, and then we are all forced to be at home.
Yes.
And then when I was at home, I had all the time in the world to put into this business. So I'd read up a lot of things, check up a lot of YouTube videos from different people who were leaders in this industry and who were doing quite well. I remember Ed Milet is one of my very good, he doesn't know that I'm one of his prodigy. But then I used to watch his videos on YouTube. You know, I had so much time on my hands during that time. And I also was able to get a lot of ideas as to how to reach out to people. And then when I reach out to them and then do the presentation with so much passion and excitement, nobody even asked if I was new to Canada or not, because I was really telling them things they have been in Canada for so many years that they didn't know. And then when they would confirm, they would find out that it's the fact. And so that actually got me a lot of referrals from the initial people that I was able to connect with. They would just say, oh, this girl, she's really nice, she's really knowledgeable, and she's such an exciting, she has such an exciting personality. So they just got me lots of referrals. And that was how the business actually picked up. And then it became fun, right? I didn't want to do anything else when the pandemic went away. Because yes, my employer called me and said, you know what, we are back. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep doing this.
Like, I'm good now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. It's such an inspiring story because sometimes people have excuses, for why they can't do this. Oh, I don't know anybody that I can talk to, or
exactly. I get that a lot.
And I don't know all the information. I mean, look, here's a young lady that started over, didn't know anyone, built the business, from scratch, turned it into a successful practice, and continuing, to grow and build that business. I think it's just phenomenal. So 2020, like, you picked a perfect time, right? To kind of jump in, right?
Yeah, it was a downturn economy. We were all sheltered in place. Everything was like upside down, but I was just able to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I just thought, okay, this will be the best time, because a lot of people passed away and most of them didn't even have life insurance. So that was like a startup point when we started talking about how horrible COVID is and how it's so terrible and boring being sheltered in place. A conversation just comes up and just goes around life insurance. Yeah. And then I'm like, you know what, I could give you the details if you just jump on Zoom with me. And then we jump on Zoom and I share my presentation. I'm like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. And then before you know it, we're putting in an application. So basically just turning that whole situation around and then just trying to, okay, so this doesn't happen to you. We could actually prevent it. If these people knew this, probably this would have been done. Everything just kind of worked out with when COVID happened. So rather than everybody saying, oh, it's the worst time of the year, everywhere, nobody has money, everybody's at home, I wasn't seeing it that way at all. I was seeing it as an opportunity to actually reach out to people so that all those things that were happening to their friends and families were now stranded, and now there are lots of mortgages that can be paid and stuff like that. Absolutely. We could actually prevent that.
The thing about COVID, at least down here, it seems like it made people more aware of the need to protect themselves, protect their families as well. Did you see that in your area as well, that people had kind of a heightened awareness or sense of need?
Oh yeah. It definitely increased people's awareness and made them more receptive to listening to this life insurance talks, because people are always like, you know what, I'm not going to die, nobody's going to die. But we see a lot of young people who were healthy just dying, right? So they were now like, they were able to calm down. Plus a lot of people were jobless, so they had nothing to do. Anyways, yeah, asking them to come on Zoom is an escape from their boring world. So they were more receptive to the information. So all that apprehension, all that don't come to me with life insurance stuff, it was quite easier to connect when COVID was actually at the heat of it.